Hello there, and welcome to the Zebra Marketing Show, where we will talk about incredible marketing topics, AI, automation, and how to get more out of your marketing. My name's Laura Camrath. I'm CEO of Zebra Marketing. And today we're going to talk about newsletters. Do you have a newsletter? Does your company have a newsletter? uh, remember, I don't know how many of us remember. Depends on maybe your age group, but most of us have probably heard of soap operas. And soap operas were these kind of, cheesy programs, cheesy shows that would play during the day, during the week, that were geared towards housewives, and they were like romance oriented and everything. Well, guess who produced the soap operas? Procter and Gamble. And why did Procter and Gamble produce soap operas? To create an audience of housewives who they expected they could then advertise their soap to. And that's why they're called soap operas. So, they created these shows just for the purpose of drawing an audience so that they could then advertise to that audience, so that that audience would then go out and buy their products, their soap. And that's why they were called soap operas. So, the same way you go to a website, nowadays, like used to be, you open a newspaper and there were ads in the newspaper. Well, now, we're all online, so most of us don't get like paper newspapers anymore. But, we're going to news articles or reading stuff on Google or even going to Amazon and whatever we do online, and little ads are popping up. Well, those ads, they can only advertise to us because we're already there looking at something. And so there's an audience being drawn in for whatever that content is that we're showing up for, that allows those companies to then buy space to advertise to that audience. So today we're going to talk about growing your audience. And, a lot of us have heard, oh, hey, you need to go put together an email newsletter. And, we talk about email newsletters. But the truth is, when somebody goes to a website, and, I see these all the time because we build websites, and they've got, at the bottom, subscribe to our newsletter. Like, most people are never going to do that. And I bet if you have that on your website, I bet the subscription rate is probably pretty low. Because all people hear when they see that is, they're going to spam me. They don't hear the value in that. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what they're going to get out of it. And all they hear is, they're going to try and sell me stuff. And nobody wants to be sold. Nobody likes a salesy weirdo. We don't want to be sold. We want to make our own decisions. We want progress. We want to get results. So today we're going to talk a little about how to grow audience by providing real value, and how to get those eyeballs, get that attention, so that you earn the right to be able to market to people. All right. So again, my name's Laura Camrath. I am CEO of Zebra Marketing. We see businesses who have valuable products and services, but they need a better way of reaching people who need their help. So we build modern marketing systems to help them reach more people, generate more leads, and convert more sales so they can make more money in their business. All right. So if you find this conversation helpful today, if this is valuable for you, please please drop a comment or ask a question. I will be back to check and see if you've dropped a question. I will come back and answer any questions that you drop. And I look forward to having this conversation with you. Certainly, if there's someone in your network that you think would benefit from this conversation, please share it with them or share it with your network. And, it just helps us all engage better as a community, helps us get the information out so that more people can benefit. Okie dokes. Let's jump in here. And let me just check and make sure that this is actually working and going live where it's supposed to go live, because last week it didn't. One moment. Okay, it looks like it is working correctly. So the last 2 weeks, I've tried to go live and something just didn't quite go right technologically, or LinkedIn had a snafu. I'm not sure. So just wanted to make sure that it's actually working this time, which it is. Yay! Okay. Alrighty. So let's jump in and talk about why nobody wants your newsletter and what they actually want. If newsletters aren't working, then what do we do? What should we offer? People don't want just more emails. People's inboxes are already oversaturated. We get so many emails. I'm sure you find the same thing. I come into my email inbox and I look for anything that's like immediately needs my attention. Pretty much everything else, I'm like, okay, I can't look at that right now. And, there's things in there even that I'm like, oh, I would like to read that, but I just don't have time right now. And, the ones that I really open are the ones that I say, hey, this is something I really want to know about. This is something that's going to help me solve my problem or get closer to the results I'm looking to achieve. So most newsletters compete for attention. It may not be that somebody's not interested, but they just don't have time right now. And the ones that win deliver something worth opening every single time. The difference isn't design or frequency, it's whether there's genuine value inside. So, what's actually want? Nobody wakes up like, oh, I just can't wait to receive another newsletter today. Like, that is not going through our prospective customers' heads. Like, they are not waking up in the morning saying, oh, I can't wait to read this company's newsletter. No, they subscribe to something because they believe they'll receive something genuinely of value. And your newsletter isn't the product, the value inside it is. So it's not that, they're like, oh, let me get a newsletter. They're looking for a desired end result. They want results. And they will subscribe to something if they believe they're going to get closer to the results they're looking to achieve. But you have to make that clear to them. What is it they're going to get out of this? So just saying, hey, we're going to give you a newsletter, like, may not be the ticket to getting subscriptions. Like, tell them what you're going to give them and how it's going to benefit them, how it's going to help them get a quick win, get helpful advice, get closer to the desired end results they want to achieve. And build trust. When you help people, you build trust because they see you as a trusted advisor, as a guide. And, just like in Lord of the Rings, when, I guess it's Frodo Baggins is trying to bring the ring to whatever, Sauron or whoever it is, you've got Gandalf the Brave. And Gandalf is not the main character in the movie. He's the guide. He is guiding Frodo in getting his desired end result, which is to get rid of the ring or whatever it was he did. So be Gandalf. You want to guide them in how to more effectively get the results they're looking for. and give them your best stuff, because at the end of the day, if they don't get your best stuff, they're not going to really see how you help people. So think about your own inbox, just like, I was talking about. Do you come into your inbox and you sift through like what's critically important right now and ignore everything else? If you are doing that, then you can expect that your customers are doing that too. So it's important to make sure that if we are putting something into someone's inbox, that it's relevant, that it is for them, that it is going to help them get closer to the results they're after. And buyers aren't really just after more information. If they wanted more information, they can probably go search for it on Google. But, they're not suffering from a lack of information. They're suffering from information overload. Everyone is vying for their attention. Everybody wants their time. And, they don't have an unlimited amount of time. So it's not just like, hey, let me give them more information. It's how do I help them to get closer to solving their problem? And, pick one problem, because again, if they're suffering from information overload, they don't have time to read like I don't know, a book. They're not going to jump into your email and read a book. You need to break that stuff down into individual pieces. Give them one piece at a time, not like a whole email with like 5 different topics, because they're not going to read it. They don't have time. They don't have the attention span. So send more frequent updates with shorter sound bites. Pick out one problem, pick out one aspect and communicate that. Make it easy for them to read. Use bullet points and, bigger text, especially if your audience is older. In the oil and gas industry, we tend to have a lot of older business owners and stuff. Make it easy for them to read. Make the text bigger so they don't have to like squint. Because if they can't easily read it, or they need to go get their glasses, they're just not going to read it. So, think about how to make it easy for them to consume. Make it quick, give them sound bites, break it up into smaller bite-sized pieces, and make sure it helps them answer the question, what problem can I help them solve today? Not just, hey, can I teach them something, but can I get them closer to the end result they're looking to get? Lead with value every time. So, not, the thing you don't want to do is spend the whole time talking about yourself. Your job is to show up and help them, help your audience before you ask for anything in return. Because, just like say you went on a blind date and you're sitting there with, maybe you go to Starbucks and you're sitting there having coffee with a blind date, and you just start talking and all you do the entire time is talk about yourself. Do you think you're going to get a second date? Probably not. That person is going to be like, wow, this guy or this girl is like super full of themselves. I didn't get a word in edgewise. So likewise, don't spend the whole time talking about yourself. Help first. Offer value in advance before you ask for anything in return. So think about this question. How can I make my customer's day a little easier? Earn trust. Companies that consistently help first become the companies buyers remember when they're finally ready to make a decision. And build a relationship. Trust compounds over time. The relationship you build through consistent helpfulness is your most durable competitive advantage. And give away your best ideas. A lot of times we think, hey, if I show up and I teach everything I know, why would anyone hire me? Because I already told them how to do it. And this is a fear that a lot of businesses, companies, marketing departments, business owners, they worry about this, and it stops them from creating truly generating truly useful content, because they're like, well, I can't tell them, our stuff. I can't tell them how to do this, because if I tell them how to do this, they're not going to want to come to me. They'll just do it themselves. Well, the truth is, okay, I do digital marketing. If I told you end to end what you have to do to build your own website, there's going to be 500 million steps in there. I'm going to tell you the exact strategy. This is what you're going to do. This is what you need to do. You're going to have to go get hosting. You're going to have to get a domain. You're going to have to write all the content. You're going to have to plan what pages you need. You're going to have to put in some online forms. You're going to have to, all these things. And yeah, now you know how to do it. Do you want to do it? Probably not. So now you're probably going to say, hey, Laura, can you and Zebra build this for me? And I'm going to say, yes, we will be happy to. Let's talk about that. So don't get too hung up on what happens if they try and go do this themselves, because chances are, your customer isn't an expert in what you do. That's why they're coming to you and tuning into your content, because they don't know how to do it. They're trying to figure out, what do they need to do to solve this problem? And when you show them, hey, this is what you need to do to solve this problem, they think, oh, wow, these folks have done this before. They know what's going on. They understand my problem better than I do. And let's just talk to them about partnering with them and they can help us solve this problem. So the opposite of what we maybe fear often usually happens. So the more expertise you demonstrate, the more confidence buyers develop in your ability to help. Sharing knowledge doesn't diminish your value, it proves it. So certainly, don't give away your trade secrets. If there's something proprietary that only your company knows how to do, or only you do it that way, don't tell them exactly how it's done. Don't give away your exact secret sauce, but give them enough to understand that you do have a secret sauce, that you do know what you're doing. And, demonstrate your knowledge and your expertise openly and generously. And in doing that, you grow your authority. Buyers recognize your depth of knowledge. They see, wow, these guys really know what they're doing. These guys really understand this problem better than even we do. And, if this is their first time experiencing that problem, and they see that you've dealt with this over and over again with other kinds of businesses just like theirs, they're going to see you as the authority. They're going to say, wow, these guys know what they're doing. These guys have handled this before successfully. Let's just partner with them, because we know it's going to turn out right. We know we're going to get the results. And when that's what's going through their mind, sales becomes easier. People hire experts. Experts teach. Teaching is selling. So, rather than just selling, hey, let's just cold call, or let's just beat people over the head and hope that they sign up. You want to show up as the authority, and you want to help them get closer to solving their problems. And when you do that, people naturally are attracted to you. So create quick wins for your audience. Every communication should deliver one practical result, something the reader can act on immediately. And small wins build trust. Trust builds relationships. So here's what that looks like across industries. Cybersecurity. One concrete way to reduce ransomware risk this week, something actionable in under an hour. Managed IT. Three signs your backups aren't actually recoverable and exactly how to verify them right now. Oh, they can go off and they can check. Make sure that it's okay, that they don't have a problem. You just added tremendous value, because if they go in there and they discover that there's a problem with their backups, they've just averted a huge potential problem coming down the line. And then say oil and gas. One maintenance metric that predicts equipment failures before they happen and how to track it. Oh, again, that could be incredible value right there. We're going to predict equipment failures before they happen so we don't have downtime and costly problems down the road. The pattern's always the same. Make it specific. Solve one problem. Make it useful and make it immediately actionable. And that's what gets emails opened week after week. So you don't want to just, solve the problem. You want to do what we call as marketers, we call this win gap. So you want to give them a win, but then leave a gap. So you give them a quick win. Like in the example where I was like, hey, what if I told you every single thing you need to do to build a website? Well, that's a win. Now you know what needs to be done, but you still have to do it. So when you tell them what needs to be done, a lot of times you could tell a prospective customer exactly what they need to do to solve that problem. And they're still going to come to you and say, great, can you do it for us? So that's called win gap. Give them a win, leave a gap. And you're revealing the next challenge. What do they have to do now? And, of course, you want to be the one who fits into that next challenge. You want to be the guide and helping them get to the solution. So it's not that you're withholding information. You're helping buyers truly understand the full journey ahead. You're helping them understand the nature of the problem, so they really get an appreciation for what's going to be required to solve it. And show them what's possible. Show them the outcomes that become achievable with the right approach. Show them what's required. Honestly map out what implementation actually takes, the effort, the expertise, the complexity, and show them why a partner helps. Demonstrate clearly why having an experienced guide makes the journey faster, safer, and more successful. And always help first. We call this value in advance. Before you ask for something, provide value. Before you ask them to take you up on an offer or you make an offer, add value. Help people before they become customers. Every helpful interaction builds familiarity, credibility, and trust long before a buying conversation begins. So by the time the buyer actually needs help, they already know who you are. That's not luck, it's the result of a consistent strategy of delivering value at every touch point. So if you're showing up in their LinkedIn feed, adding value, you're showing up in a weekly email, delivering consistent, practical, valuable, actionable tips, you're offering a webinar or an event, you're deepening the relationship with a live education where they can interact with you, maybe an AI tool or assessment. You're providing personalized, immediate insight. They enter their information, they enter their whatever questions you ask them. How many employees do you have? How many blah, blah, blah? What programs do you use? Blah, blah, blah. And you spit them out an immediate assessment with using AI that's trained to make that judgment and give them an immediate result. Well, now they have something immediate, and you have earned the right to continue marketing to them. Trusted conversation. And, once they have been seeing your content, maybe getting your emails, they have downloaded something or gotten an AI assessment from you, whatever touch points, by the time it gets to, hey, we need help from someone like this, now you have a much more natural feeling sales call. You're not clobbering them over the head with your offer when you haven't earned the right by showing up and helping them first. So it just becomes easier to make sales because there's a lot more trust already built. So I like to call this the 80/20 rule of email marketing. 80% of the time, educate, teach, inspire, solve problems, share useful perspectives, help readers get smarter, safer, or more successful. And 20% of the time, you're promoting, invite, make offers, promote services. And when the 80% is done right, the 20% is welcomed, not resented. You know, people know that you're not just showing up to help because you're just, you know, a really nice person. Like they know that that's part of your business. And, they expect that when you're showing up and you're educating, yeah, eventually you're going to make an offer. You're going to tell them how you can work together. And, when it's done in that way, people are not turned off by it. They're not going to say, well, what jerks. They just, all they care about is talking about themselves. If you're really helping, if you're helping them solve problems, and then you say, hey, here's how we can work together, they're going to say, well, yeah, okay, I might think about doing that when we need your help. And this is why consistent communication matters. Most businesses focus their marketing energy exclusively on people who they think are ready to buy today. But that's only a small and fiercely competitive slice of the market. So if you take a look at this little pie chart here, we've got up here, we've got about 4% researching solutions. So they're just right now out there kind of looking at what do they need to do to solve this problem. They're trying to figure out, they know they have a problem, they're trying to figure out what to do about it. And this 4%, they have already figured out what they think they want to do about it, and they are ready to buy. So they are actively looking to partner with someone who's going to help them solve that problem. Over here, we've got 92% are the people who are not actively looking. They're not looking. Maybe they are in that market and they could be good customers, but they're not currently, they're not in market in terms of ready to buy or currently looking for a solution. They're just poking around, knowing that this is probably relevant, but they don't really need it right now, but that's interesting, but not ready to buy. And so, you have 92% of prospective customers out there who are not yet in market. They're not actively looking yet. And these folks, this is like the well of future customers. And so you don't want to ignore them. And so many times we ignore the 92% because they're not ready yet. And this, I like to think of this kind of like the green tomato effect. We think as business owners and companies, we think that, okay, we're like, say you're a farmer and you've got a field of green tomatoes. And you look out at your field of green tomatoes and you say, wow, let's just tear these all out. They're green and not ready to eat yet. And I mean, how ridiculous would that be? Because if you just give them a little sunlight, give them a little water, give them a little fertilizer maybe, and you just give them a little time, then soon enough, they'll be ripe and red and ready to eat. So think about your 92% as your green tomatoes. Give them some love, give them some water and some sunlight and help them grow. And out of that 92%, will come the 4%. They will come looking for solutions. They will come ready to buy. They will raise their hands and say, "Hey, it's time now. We're red and ripe and ready to eat." Thank you for nurturing us all of this time. So keep that in mind with your communications. Marketing is about tomorrow's buyers. If you only market to buyers who are ready today, you'll constantly compete for the same narrow slice of attention. So help the other 96%. It's not that you can't help the 8% who are researching or ready to buy, but they're already to that point. So they've kind of already made their decisions. The people who are researching, we have intent data, we have B2B data that can help you figure out who those people are right now who are in the research phase. But for the other 96%, you have the opportunity to continually show up and help them. So, helpful emails, LinkedIn content, consistently, not just like, oh, we post once every 3 months, but think about a strategy. What are maybe the 5 or 6 like main topics that your customers need to do, or what are the top 4 or 5 or 6 things that your customers need to do to get results, and then break those down into 4 subcategories of topics that within that one category they need to do to get results in that main category. So now you've got 4 or 5 main categories, main steps they need to take to get the desired results. You break that down into 4 subtopics. Now you've got a consistent content plan for the next 4, 5, or 6 months. And you know what you're going to talk about. You know what kind of content you're going to produce. So you're not sitting there racking your head wondering, what am I going to do next? So build yourself a content plan. Keep the content consistent, because consistency is what builds trust. If they're not seeing you, out of sight, out of mind. So show up consistently, adding value. Webinars or online trainings, they deepen the credibility with live insights. AI assessments provide personalized immediate value, and buying decisions, your company already top of mind. So, the AI assessments, like I said, now we can provide actual immediate assessments. We can train an AI on the back end how to make an assessment or an audit. And then, you can ask the customer questions on the front end, how many employees you have, or how many systems you have, or, whatever the important questions are to make that determination. Ask them the questions and then provide them an immediate result. Here's what we think. If you want a real personalized, human involved assessment, book in with us and we'll help you customize this to your business. We'll take a look and we'll tell you what you think and give you a plan. And so that's how you can give, because people also want immediacy nowadays. We're used to like Amazon Prime, where you order something and it arrives in 2 hours, and expecting people to wait these days, they just move on to the next thing. So the more immediate we can make the experience, the better for them. And when we are doing things right, when we are keeping it consistent, when we are adding value, it builds the trust, keeps you top of mind, so that out of that 96% at any time, there are consistent numbers of prospective customers raising their hand and saying, hey, can you help me with this? Don't sell a newsletter, sell the outcome. Nobody wants a newsletter. Don't call it a newsletter. They subscribe for a promised result. They want to achieve progress. And if you show them how you're going to solve their problems and give them progress, they will subscribe for that. But, hey, join our newsletter sounds like, hey, sign up for some spam and we'll be salesy weirdos. And they're going to say, no, thank you. So, new examples of a better way to frame your call to action. Something like receive one practical cybersecurity strategy every week to reduce risk and stay ahead of emerging threats. Oh, that sounds good and helpful. Let me sign up. One IT growth insight every Tuesday, practical, actionable, and free. Oh, I get why that's going to be valuable. Let me sign up. One strategy to improve pipeline and sales conversations delivered weekly. Oh, sounds helpful. Let me sign up. Sell the result, not the subscription. Tell them what they're going to get out of it. What's in it for me factor. The more specific the promise of, the results you're going to deliver, the higher the conversion. So more people will sign up, the more valuable it appears to be to them in being able to get their results. And also, in the same line of thinking, don't sell a consultation. People say, oh, hey, book a free consultation and it's going to be great. Well, what the customer hears is, I'm going to sign up and they're going to try and sell me stuff. So don't frame it that way. Tell them what they're going to get out of spending some time with you. Tell them, hey, we're going to give you like a cybersecurity risk review or AI readiness assessment or whatever it is you do, whatever problem it is you solve. Tell them how spending some time with you is going to help them get closer to the results thereafter. And tell them exactly what they'll walk away with. A clear outcome eliminates friction and makes it easy to say yes. When it's clear to them why they would want to spend half an hour with you in their busy day, that they have, a lot going on, they're going to sign up if they see the value. So make sure the value is clear. And continue adding value after every interaction. After someone does from you or completes an assessment, that's not the end of the journey. Now you have earned the right to continue marketing to them. So continue adding value. What next? How are you going to help them next? And, the moment of engagement is the beginning of the relationship, not the end of the funnel. So now you want to show them how you help people. Give them some testimonials or some case studies or, something that shows successful results where you've achieved their result for someone else. So they can imagine themselves, oh yeah, I see how this will work for us. Tell them how you help people. Tell them about, the great aspects of your support or customer service. Show them how it works so they can imagine themselves getting the results you promise. And AI makes nurturing easier and more consistent. So, like I said, we can now set up AI, what we call lead magnets on the website. So you get a tool that gives people instant answers. They don't have to wait around, they don't have to talk to someone. And, people today, buyers today, they don't want to talk to you until it's absolutely critically necessary. So, if they have to go there and they have to book a call first to get any sort of answer, they're probably going to be upset about that. They want to get as close as they possibly can to making their own decision without ever having to talk to you. So make sure you make it really easy for them to get the information that they need. Add value in advance. Show them what the experience would be like working with you without them having to actually call you and talk to you to find out. Because if they have to call you just to find out what the value is in working with you, they're probably not going to book a call. So you want to show them the value to show them why they would want to spend some time with you in booking a call. So, say they do download, I don't know, say they interact with an AI assessment on your website and it gives them an immediate answer. And now they've given you their contact details. Now, an automated follow up, say from an AI agent, can immediately follow up with them. Hey, I noticed you requested our instant assessment. I hope you found that valuable. By the way, what's your biggest challenge when it comes to XYZ problem? Oh, great. Here's how we help people solve that problem. Would you like to book a call so we can help you customize a solution and you can see how it would work for you? Oh, okay, great. How does Friday at 3 p.m. look? Now you're automated booking calls. Calls are being booked in from your website or from a digital ad without you having to do anything. So notify your sales team exactly when personal follow up makes sense. So, if, say, they opt in for your instant AI assessment, then your AI chat follows up with them in 1 hour, 24 hours, 48 hours, and they still don't book a call. Maybe it says, hey, this person requested the AI assessment, but they didn't book a call. Maybe a human should follow up. So this whole process can be automated so that humans only have to get involved when it's critically necessary. And yes, in a B2B setting, oftentimes we expect that we're going to do a lot more um, direct sales interaction and a lot more personal human hand holding, but that doesn't have to be the only thing you do. You can also offer these types of content, these types of interactive assessments or interactive tools that can help your customers get closer to the solutions they're after, and so give them options. And, don't necessarily make assumptions about what you think they're going to want or need. Because at the end of the day, like I said, they want to get as close to making a decision without having to actually talk to you. So make it easy for them to do that. Become the company buyers learn from. The companies we trust most usually taught us something before they ever sold us anything. So that's not a coincidence, it's a strategy. When you're showing up with helpful ideas, sharing practical perspectives, and your audience can apply those immediately, when you're giving them useful resources, maybe you're giving them AI tools that they can use and interact with that helps them solve their problems. Maybe you're giving them guides or assessments that deliver real value. Maybe you're showing up consistently with your expertise, helping them solve problems. You know, it's gonna help them see you as the expert. They're gonna say, wow, these guys really know what they're doing. They understand my problem even better than I do. They truly are the experts. And when buyers finally need help, you're gonna be top of mind. Not because you advertised, but because you educated. You showed up and you educated them about their problem so that they could understand, what do they really need as it pertains to solving this problem. And they see you as the guide, the Gandalf, in helping them get to where they're trying to go. So here's a simple test for every email you send. Would someone be disappointed if they missed this? If the honest answer is no, then you might want to keep improving it. Every email should leave your audience in a measurably better position than before they opened it. You want them to feel smarter, like they learned something they didn't know before or saw something familiar in a new light. They want to maybe feel safer or they want to be closer to their end result. So maybe if they're looking for lower risk. They're better protected from risk, from mistakes, from preventable problems. Or maybe they're more successful. They're one step closer to a goal that matters to them. And people buy for pain reasons. Like 80% or more of the time, we are buying to alleviate a pain. We are in pain for some reason. Something is not right, something is a problem, and we need to be out of pain. So we are looking for a solution to get us out of pain. And that is more often the case, maybe only 20% of the time, we are buying to maximize something or, move towards pleasure. So, you know, people are more likely to buy because something is wrong and it needs to be fixed than, oh, we just want to, have a bigger, better, blah, blah, blah. They don't want, it's not so much like, I mean, if say you have a bunch of employees and you're shopping for healthcare, chances are maybe you're shopping for healthcare because, like health insurance, because your employees are leaving or something, or it's too expensive, or there's something wrong. Like that's more often going to be the case than, oh, I'm shopping for health insurance because I just want really happy employees. Like maybe that's 20% of people who are like, oh, I'm just a really nice person and I want to make sure my employees are like super, super happy, even if it costs more money. Like that's probably not going to be most of the time. Most of the time it's like, oh, well, our insurance is too expensive, or employees are leaving because they're dissatisfied and they found better something somewhere else, or so think about that. What pain are you addressing for them, and focus more on alleviating the pain perhaps than trying to help them maximize something or do even better than what they're doing now, kind of thing. So people don't want newsletters. They want tangible value in advance, delivered consistently without having to ask for it. And they want practical advice. They want it quick. They want quick wins. So we don't have time anymore to read a book. We don't have time anymore to spend a week in an online training trying to figure out how to get a result. So every email should help your readers solve a real problem, not 12 big real problems, one real problem, or help them make a better decision immediately. And it should give trusted expertise over time. Consistent value builds credibility. Credibility earns trust. Trust earns a conversation when buyers are ready. Think about the green tomatoes. Most of your market is full of green tomatoes. So, what can you do to give them a little bit of sunshine, a little water, a little fertilizer, get them ripe and red and ready to buy? So make sure that you are showing up consistently to build that credibility, to earn that trust. And you will find that at any time, there are enough people ready to raise their hands and say, hey, can you help me with this? And then you want to educate first so that you can sell naturally. When you are showing up repeatedly, educating, adding value, giving away your expertise, the sales conversation becomes natural because you are already top of mind. They already see you as the expert. They already see that you know how to solve their problem better than they do. And when the time comes and when they're ready for that sales conversation, the door is going to open. They're going to call. They're going to make an inquiry with you. And they're going to say, hey, I wondered how you could help solve this for us. Own experience. Think about your own inbox or your own LinkedIn feed. Who is it you really follow and why? What are they doing that maybe perhaps other people are not doing in that same way, that has you actually open it up and say, oh, what's going on here? What can I find out? What are they talking about? What's this conversation? What makes it worth opening? And and then think about your own communications with your customers, and how can you make them look forward to opening that email because it adds so much value that they want to see what you have to say so they can get to their end result, get their problem solved more quickly. So if this was an interesting conversation for you, if you're thinking about, how is your company nurturing the people in your market who are perhaps not quite ready to buy yet, um, drop the word newsletter in the comments and let's have a conversation about how you're getting this implemented in your company. What are you talking about? Uh, are you consistent? How are you being consistent across different channels? How are you nurturing those green tomatoes to make sure that at any time there are some that are ripe and ready to eat? Let's have a conversation. So if this is something that you think that maybe your company could do better because you want consistent pipeline and you want to grow the revenue of your business, drop the word newsletter in the comments. I'll tell you how we can hop on a call together and let's have a chat. Uh, and so I think there are a lot of us who can get this type of thing going so that we can really be seen as the experts in our market for what we do. Alrighty. So let's hop back over so you can see me face to face. Alrighty. So I hope that was valuable for you. We're going to be here every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. We're going to talk about marketing topics like building audience, like we did today, how to attract the right eyeballs, how to attract the right prospective customers so that you can build predictable pipeline and have hockey stick growth in your business. So hop back in with us next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central, and we will be continuing our conversation. Again, my name's Laura Camrath. I'm CEO of Zebra Marketing. We see businesses who have valuable products and services, but they need a better way of reaching people who need their help. We build modern marketing systems to help them reach more people, generate more leads, and convert more sales to make more money. So if that's you, if you would like a better system for predictable sales and hockey stick growth, let's hop in a call together, drop the word newsletter in the chat. And if you have any questions, certainly drop those in the chat. I will be back to check questions and answer your questions later. Please, if this was valuable for you, drop a like, drop a comment, share it with your network so that we can all engage better as a community so that more folks can benefit from these conversations. All right. Well, I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in and grow your business.